All right, let's talk about I logically know that this person isn't good for me, but I still want them. What's wrong with me? There's so many layers to this question and or this statement, whatever you want to call it. I think the first layer that I'd like to address is like the logic. There's so many things, my friends. There are so many things in the world that we logically know and then we don't do, or we logically know not to do it and then we do it. We logically know smoking gives us cancer. Sometimes we still smoke. I don't, but um, we logically know that it's important to move, but then we skip the gym. We logically know that we should eat healthy, that we should get more protein, but then we don't. Okay. Logic is never really the reason. It's really about connecting that subconscious brain to the logical prefrontal cortex. And we do that in a variety of ways, especially in Get Over Your Ex, the program. But the first thing that I will say is that planning in the prefrontal cortex is your best friend. Planning and then executing your plan, which requires you to feel negative emotion. And ironically, these are skill sets that we learn and build when we're reducing desire and attachment for our ex. So there's a micro process and a macro process to reducing desire and attachment. I didn't think I'd get into this in these little mini episodes, but here we are. Um, the micro process is 2 or 3 specific exercises that I walk through with my clients that reduce desire no matter what. I've seen it time and time again. The macro process is the bigger behind the scenes process where we're building skill sets, emotional maturity, learning how to experience negative emotion and not be like terrified of it, and learning how to reduce our reactivity to negative emotion, building our relationship with ourselves, rebuilding the trust and confidence within ourselves, creating closure, rewriting the breakup story, and ultimately debunking all of our limiting beliefs that we have about what's available to us in the future, especially without our ex. And all of these work together to build this skill set of bridging your logical brain with your subconscious in your body, right? That's the difference between knowing something in your bones and in your body and operating from that place. The second thing that I think is so important when we're talking about, I logically know he's not good for me, right? Because we've made all the logical lists. We have the list of all the wrongdoings that he's done, how terrible of a person he might be, the ways that you're not compatible. The lists only get you so far. And we have to remember like a bigger, broader component here is to be someone who's over their ex. We have to start acting like them and showing up like them. We have to start feeling like them. And in order to feel like them, we have to think like the version of us who's over our ex. And that's what it's the foundation of what I teach, right? Thoughts create feelings. Those feelings fuel actions. Those actions create the results that you have in your life or the lack thereof. Meaning, we have to think like someone who's over her ex. We have to feel like that person. We have to act like that person. And we've got to practice showing up in that way over and over and over again. And the more practice you get in, the better you get at it, the faster you get over them based off of the amount of practice that you do. Now, that practice of thinking, feeling, acting like the version of you who's over your ex, that bridges the logical to the subconscious. Okay. And think about it from like a activity or a sports position. Someone who's practicing tennis, it becomes like second nature to like swing in the way that hits the ball. A woman who's dancing a dance, the more time she practices, like the better her muscle memory is and remembers, like she didn't have to think her way through the dance. Her body just moves through the dance and then she gets to like artfully create from there, right? So that's the same thing we're doing when it comes to getting over your ex, even when you logically know that that person isn't for you. Isn't that cool? I think that's so cool to like compare like learning a dance to learning how to get over your ex. So there's nothing wrong with you if you feel like, oh my God, I logically know this. It's a biological thing. We built this weird, stupid reward loop in our brain. We feel addicted because we are addicted, and we can break that addiction through reducing desire and attachment using the micro and macro process and learning how to think, feel, act intentionally like we're over our exes. Um, and we do all of that inside the Get Over Your Ex program. So I'm going to invite you. This is your next step, is to come with me and do this work over the summer together so that by fall, you're over your ex. Not only you're over your ex, but you're living a bigger and better life, whatever that looks like. Maybe it was the same life you had with your ex. Maybe it's something that looks very different than that, but we will build it together. All right. I love you so much. I will talk to you next time.